people are resistant to the idea of having a coach. What do you think that is? What do you think stops people from taking that step to help themselves get to where they want to go?
Because it doesn't feel good, right? Like, Chris, I know I'm coaching with the right, I'm never excited to talk to my coach. Like, that probably sounds terrible, but I'm never excited to talk to my coach. I put some big, audacious goals and visions at the beginning of the year, and like getting there is going to take work. Just like I said earlier, work and faith and focus and a lot of courage, and it's not going to feel good. And frankly, being accountable to yourself, to the people around you, that it's never a comfortable feeling. So we have to make a decision about, do we care more about being comfortable, or do we care more about achieving what we set out to achieve? Like, which one is it? Because you have to choose one. What matters to you more, being comfortable or setting out to achieve what you want to achieve? Because it doesn't feel good. Growth doesn't feel good, right? I always give the physical representation of, I don't know how many of you have kids, but I have a daughter who's starting to get growing pains, and she'll say, my legs hurt and my arms hurt, or whatever it is, and it's growing pains. It's a physical representation of her body stretching, right? It hurts. It doesn't feel good. And I think that when we get a coach, a good one, and they hold us to our possibility, it's usually a regular uncomfortable conversation that we're signing up for. And if you don't have a coach that's holding you to your possibility, well, then you probably have the wrong one. I know I personally coach people, and I just had a coaching call this morning with someone in my world, and they said, man, like, I'm suffering a little bit right now. And I said, good, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Like, this period of growth is not going to be comfortable. So you're doing the right things, right?
Yep. Yeah. So very true. Someone asked the question, are there any books that come to mind that would address some of these same sort of limiting beliefs or mindset things that agents could use for their team members or for themselves?
Oh yeah, I mean, so many. I read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius every year. I'm a huge follower of Stoic philosophy. I'd highly encourage all of you to pick that one up. Just sort of the mentality around, challenging times and challenging people and challenging things. Very much encourage all of you to pick that one up. There's a book, I'm trying to think of a few others that I would recommend specifically around mindset. There's a book called Big Magic, and it's more focused around creativity, but some of the mindset pieces in there are really valuable, really focused around like just going and doing what calls to you, doing what you believe to be the right step forward. As I said before, I fundamentally don't believe that dreams are bestowed upon us unless we are designed to achieve them. And so if it's been given to you, then you have a responsibility to see if you can make it unfold. And if you don't, then someone else will, right? And so I would very much encourage both of those. It was Meditations. I saw the question in the chat. Meditation. Second one is Big Magic. I can think of, Chris, you probably have some great recommendations too. I can think of so many. Right now I'm rereading Think Again as well by Adam Grant. Highly recommend that book, really about changing perspective and really rethinking things. And while not a mindset book, technically, it is a thinking book, and I'm very focused around how to think through challenges and changing landscapes. And for, I think, the world that we're in and the one that we're going into, which is changing rapidly, I would encourage all of you to pick that up right now.
That's great. All great recommendations. So you get to talk to a lot of agents on a regular basis, not just in doing things like this, but the ones that actually are in your lead syndicate. What's the current single biggest challenge that you're dealing with in helping them?
I would say right in this moment, the thing that I've seen, it's definitely this, which is why we ended up having this conversation as opposed to another one, right? As opposed to a more tactical real estate conversation. I would say this is a big piece, right? Limiting beliefs and people, listening to the wrong people, listening to the wrong avenues, listening to the wrong, news outlets, whatever it is. And really the second part of that is focus. we all get to make a decision every single second about what we're choosing to focus on, right? And we can choose to focus on all of the reasons and all of the ways that we can't. We can spin ourselves out of control, or we can stay focused on what matters most, and we can incrementally take steps towards the end result that we're looking for. And that's where most people, most agents specifically, and I think most people in general, get mixed up from a success standpoint, right? That they just get out of focus and start listening to the wrong people, or focusing on the wrong things, or getting distracted by the wrong things. I mean, again, the world is not designed for us to succeed. So we're every day we're in the digital deluge. Like, I even look at people who wear the Apple watches. I'm like, I can't imagine having one more way for somebody to get a hold of me, right? And so we have to be very protective over our time, over what we're focusing on. More than ever, we've got to be laser focused. Yeah, Mike said it, Dominant Thoughts. It's the perfect book recommendation, right? And really, it's about being laser focused on what matters most, and on what we need to do, like what we actually have to do in order to move ourselves and our business forward. Because nobody's coming to do it for you. You've got to stay focused on what matters most. And if you don't, then again, good news is you get to decide. Bad news is you get to decide. It's your choice either way.
Yep. And it's much easier to maintain that focus when you have a goal that's really important.
Yeah.
That anchor that keeps you going. Oh, again, if you have questions, it looks like there's no one in here. So here's another question. How important is being physically fit and competitive as it, and how does that impact your business? That's like, you've talked a lot about the mental side of it, the limiting beliefs, but what about the other aspects of our life? How important is that for people to achieve at their peak performance or peak level?
Man, I love that question, because I don't think that we talk about it enough. I always say growth never exists in one vertical, right? Like we never grow in one silo. And so we have to make sure that we understand how everything connects. And here's how I always liken the physical fitness aspect. When I take somebody through, I call it like a future visioning exercise. And if you were to close your eyes and really envision yourself 5 years from now, like, where do you want to be? Maybe you're standing on a big stage, maybe you're getting the award, maybe you're standing in front of your team, maybe you're retired, like whatever it is. How do you feel? Like, what do you envision your body feeling like? And I don't know anybody who gets out of that future visioning exercise and is like, man, I'm feeling really weak and overweight and short of breath. Like, we want to feel powerful, right? And if we're going to demand the most of our bodies and of our mindset, we need to be at our physical best too, right? There's a reason that all of these things are connected. There's a reason that most great mindset coaches, you'll find them in the professional sports world, right? Because ultimately they know that even if we are physically fit, we have to be fit up here, and vice versa, right? It all works together. The body is congruent. It's not just our minds working, but our bodies as well, and vice versa. So for me, being physically fit is everything. I don't think I can demand as much of my body as I do, between the travel and the work and being a mom and a partner and a friend and all of these things. Like, I don't think I can demand that of myself if I'm not feeding my body and exercising the right way in order to give back, right? It's overused, but like we do only have one place to live. I'm gonna make the most of the one that I got.
Yeah. Strong body, strong mind.
That's right.
Nikki, let's get like really specific and tactical on the topic of follow-up, right? We know that we have a couple jobs as agents. It's generating leads or acquiring leads, however we're doing it, and then effectively following up. And that's where most agents I see either succeed at a high level or fail miserably. What are you teaching your group about follow-up, and what are you stressing and having them focus on?
This is going to be an unpopular way to put it, but like, stay with me. I always talk about mindless follow-up and mindless lead gen. And what I mean by that, like, I love your social post, Chris, because you articulate this so beautifully, which is, we just don't have that many jobs as agents, right? And in our organization, we literally take away all the other jobs. And so we coach our people to have mindless lead gen and mindless follow-up. And what that means is when I put my shoes on and tie them, it's mindless. Like, I'm not thinking about, okay, cross the bunny and put it through the loop, right? It's just mindless. I've done this so many times that I just go right into it, right? When I go for a run, it's just mindless, right? I've done it so many times, it's just a habit. There's so many things. When I get into my car, put it in drive and start driving away, mindless, right? But at some point, it wasn't. At some point, I really had to think about how to tie those shoes. At some point, I had to really think about what route I was going to run or how long it was going to take or how far I could go. At some point, I had to really think about, okay, first I check my mirror and then I reverse. Like at some point, it's unnatural. And you have to do it for long enough that it becomes a habit and becomes mindless. So we say we get it ready the same time every day. Like we deliver this to our agents, but it's, hey, who you need to call is set the night before. Your follow-up is set the night before. What script you're going to use is set the night before, so that when you walk in the morning, it is the first thing our people do, and it is mindless. Because the more we have to think about it, the more we have to make a decision about it, the less likely we are to actually do it. So we need to get it all set up for ourselves so we can't make the excuse or get distracted again. What action are we avoiding by making this more complicated than it actually is? Like we take the complication out of it so we can just get right into it. And eventually that becomes enough of a habit that it becomes mindless, right? It's just something that we do every day.
Yep. I love that. Love that. Yeah, okay, so here's another tactical specific question. In the first conversation, the first interaction that you have with a consumer, regardless of where where that lead was generated from, what are the things you're stressing to your team, and how do you coach them to be effective in that first conversation?
Yeah, this is a great question, because I think that I can tell the difference between someone who has a lot of experience with especially online lead gen or aggregator lead gen versus someone who doesn't, just by how they answer this question. Because if somebody's calling on 123 Main Street and you give them all the information on 123 Main Street, what happens? They hang up. They're like, thanks so much for giving me all the information that I asked for. So our goal is to stay on the phone for as short a time as possible and to set the appointment as fast as possible. Like that's what we ingrain into our agents, because the likelihood of you converting that goes up drastically. In our organization, we've done the math because we track everything, and the conversion increases by 70%, 70%, if we get in front of the consumer after the first call, right? So the goal is to set the appointment. I need to know as little as possible for it to make sense to set the appointment, and that's the goal. So we our goal is to set it as quickly as possible, to jump on there, jump off the phone as quickly as possible with the information that we need and a secure date, time, and place that we're meeting.
Yeah, that's so important. It's just a different world that we're in today. In the past, we would always say, no, you're never going to go on an appointment unless you pre-qualify and have them jump through all these hoops. Consumers aren't going to do that anymore. Nope. If you make it difficult or create too much friction, they're going to go somewhere else. So the agents that are capturing the business are the ones that are doing just exactly what you said, Nikki.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the consumer it's more likely for them to work with the first agent they talk to, not the best, right? They're not vetting 13 agents. They're just want to get the information they need. And then here's a place, you asked earlier what I see like most agents being challenged with right now. And here's a place where I'm seeing a lot of agents being challenged on in our organization, because we coach a lot on this. But they'll work with the agent who moves them through the funnel, right? It used to be that the consumer was moving themselves through the funnel. Like I think that's been the biggest fundamental shift that I've seen in real estate over the course of the last year, like 18 months or so, about a year and a half, is that they were moving themselves through the funnel. Like they were highly motivated. They were figuring it out. They were moving themselves through the funnel. That's changed. If we want someone to buy or sell short of like true urgency, right? Short of an actual defined urgency, we have to move through the funnel. In our world, we say this is what happens next, right? Like we get them through the funnel. Now that we've met, this is what happens next. This is what happens next. This is what happens next. Because if you're not doing that, they're unlikely to move themselves through, because there's so much noise happening in the real estate market. They're going to have Uncle Bob tell them that it's not a good time to buy, and they're going to get in their head about it. Or they're going to have, Aunt Peggy say, you're really selling your house right now. The market's crazy, right? So we have to be responsible for really moving them through the funnel right now.
Yeah. Yes. No Aunt Peggy's or Uncle Bob's.
No Aunt Peggy's or Uncle Bob's.
Jeremiah, I know we're running. First of all, Nikki, this has been awesome. So thank you for taking the time. Thank you for everyone for being here. No one leave, because Jeremiah has stuff you want to end with. And Jeremiah, were there any questions that I missed for Nikki before we wrap up?
No, I think you covered them all, but I'd love to give Nikki an opportunity to just give us a parting thought and close out, and then I'll wrap up the OJA stuff. And if you're still here at the very end, we're going to give away merch. So hang with us.
Well, first and foremost, thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you for all of you who took time out of your day to be here. I certainly don't take that lightly. So thank you for spending an hour with us. Very much appreciate it. My second thought is I don't have any Ojo swag, so I would very much like some Ojo swag. A dress coming your guys' way. And my third thought is this, guys. I always tell people we don't get to control the first thought that comes through, but we do get to make a decision about what we do with that thought. And our minds are liars. Like, we don't have to believe them. And I fundamentally believe that we are all born and able to greatness. We were literally designed to succeed. And if we don't get there, it's because we got in our own way somewhere. So get out of your way, use these questions, get into action. And if somebody around you is imposing their limiting beliefs upon you, and invite you to just give them back. They're not yours, they're theirs. Let them advocate for them staying where they are, and allow them to go and be average somewhere else. They don't have to do it around you. So you need to advocate for your own greatness right now. And so I would encourage you to use these questions, to use these tactics to go and do that, to get out of the cage and go build that dream business and dream life. That's what you were born to do. And I'll throw my info in the chat, my link tree for anyone who wants to connect.